The basic question at issue today is whether the President personally acted improperly in the Watergate matter.
Let me try to tell you what seems to me to be the essence of the current problem. And I'm sorry that this was put together so hastily that it'll be a little long. As you all know, there has been and is evidence, not proof perhaps in some instances, but clearly prima facie evidence of serious wrongdoing on the part of high government officials.
That action taken by the President in the spirit of accommodation that has marked American constitutional history was accepted by responsible leaders in Congress and the country. Mr. Cox's refusal to proceed in the same spirit of accommodation, complete with his announced intention to defy instructions from the President and press for further confrontation at a time of serious world crisis, made it necessary for the President to discharge Mr. Cox and to return to the Department of Justice the task of prosecuting those who broke the law in connection with Watergate. Before taking this action, the President met this evening with Attorney General Richardson. The President met with Attorney General Richardson at about 4:45 today for about 30 minutes. The Attorney General, on hearing of the President's decision, felt obliged to resign, since he believed the discharge of Professor Cox to be inconsistent with the conditions of his confirmation by the Senate. As the Deputy Attorney General, Mr. William Ruckelshaus, refused to carry out the President's explicit directive to discharge Mr. Cox, he, like Mr. Cox, has been discharged of further duties, effective immediately. Professor Cox was notified of his discharge by the Acting Attorney General, the Solicitor General, Robert H. Bork.
I want there to be no question remaining about the fact that the President has nothing to hide in this matter.
The public was outraged, but none more so than the dynamic and outspoken president of the American Bar Association, Chesterfield Smith.
When he couldn't get anybody to fire Cox, he eventually got Bob Bork to fire Cox. When he fired him, he sent the FBI in. They went down and went into Archibald Cox's office and started looking for all of the things to take over and take control of. The FBI moving in on an independent prosecutor, moving in on the court system and taking it over. And people all over America got scared. I remember I thought, this can't be happening. We have a court system. This case is being litigated. If you lose a case in court, you have to do what the judge says or you have to appeal him. And the President's got to do what Judge Sirica said or appeal him.
The loyalties of the nation were strongly divided. Something had to be done. But the situation was so volatile that many were reluctant to speak out. Bill McBride was then administrative assistant to Chesterfield Smith.
We were at a Chicago Bears football game on Sunday after the Saturday Night Massacre, and he was very pensive for him. I mean, he'd read all the newspapers, received calls from all over the United States, and about well into sometime in the middle of the first half of that football game says, I think we need to go out to the bar center, I need to do something.
And he kept digging me in, saying, Mr. Smith, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to do something. What are you going to do? And I kept worrying about the football game, and we looked. Finally, at the half, I said, come on.
So he drove out to the American Bar Association offices, which were closed on Sunday. They opened them up. He summoned a number of people from around the country, flew in. They had hookups with lawyers, maybe 20 or 30 lawyers from around America. He maybe talked to 50 or 60 that afternoon and issued his statement, which was then published the next day.
A basic statement said, nobody is above the law. If a judge has a court hearing and he rules, you do what he says or you appeal it. Do one or the other. And the president cannot ignore the law. The president's not above the law.